Shannon. So welcome to my Ioh talk. Just before we start, I would like to give a quote from Kaohsiung Mama. The quote is in Chinese, but I'll just translate into English. She says, "Child, remember your dad and mom always loves you. Don't limit yourself and chase after your dreams." This is just a table of contents that lists out everything I'm going to be discussing. Starting with the self-introduction. So as you guys already know, my name is Shannon Hang. That's just a picture of me. And I'm from a small suburban city in California. And my family background, I am a mixed baby, which means I'm half from Guangdong and half from Cambodia, but I was born and raised in California. And just some of my interests, I love outdoor activities, so I love hiking, I love biking, and I also enjoy watching movies in my free time. I'm constantly going to movie theaters. And music, my favorite artist is Sam Smith, so this is just one of the pictures I took at his concert in San Diego. And I consider myself quite creative, I guess you can say. I love scrapbooking and like taking Polaroid pictures and just putting it in a notebook and decorating it just so I can look back in my past memories. And an interesting hobby, I love making latte. So I would make my own matcha latte at home. Like I have the entire set. I have the matcha powder, the whisk, the bowl, the entire set. And in the future, what do I want to be when I grow up? I want to be Miss Independent. So here's just a picture of me and my mom. She's my role model. So I want to be able to chase after my dreams and not let any obstacles stand in my way. So there's also a song that's like, it's an artist singing about how much she admires a woman who can walk like a boss, talk like a boss, like everything she does is like a boss. So that's my goal in life. And something I want everyone just to take from this video is just how to survive in a foreign country. So growing up, I've always been drilled with the lesson, like you have to be open to trying new things. So for example, when I was younger, my mom, she would always give me these interesting soup and I would be so hesitant in trying it, but she would be like, it's okay, just you don't know until you try, right? So with that in mind, just try new things with an open mind and open heart. That is how I decided to study in Taiwan. And I chose this university called National Kaohsiung University of Hospitality and Tourism. So how I found out about this university is through an education fair that was held sometime in my senior year of high school. And this education fair consisted of different universities around Taiwan. So there was Nkuht Cao Da and this Kaohsiung University. So at that time I was also interested in hospitality. So I decided, you know, why not try something new, right? But this required a few complicated procedures. So for example, you had to submit a few documents, and before you submit it, you also have to authorize it by a Taiwanese embassy in LA. Or since I'm from LA, that's where I had to submit it. And then about this university, so I have one word that describes it. It's traditional. So I will tell you guys why it's traditional. But before that, I'll just tell you that this university, it's located very far from the city center. So as you can see the red flag over there, that's where the university is, and everything, it's located on the left side. So you can see the Kaohsiung International Airport and pretty much the city, it's on the left side of the flag. And yeah, so there's not much around the university, so that's why I call it an isolated island. But even as isolated as it is, Taiwan does provide you with very very convenient transportation. So there are buses, metros, and public bikes you can take. What is there to eat around the area? So there's also a shopping mall near the university called Taroko Park, and my friends and I, we would go to this place quite often after school or during weekends, just because it pretty much has everything you would need. Like there's a small amusement park, there's a movie theater, and there's a food court, you can go shopping, and there's also, most importantly, AC. It gets pretty hot in Taiwan. And also on the right side there's a picture of Wanlixiang, and this is one of my most favorite food in Taiwan. It's a street food. So what this basically is, it's just deep fried everything, I guess you can say. It's always in a food stand, and you can pick out all the foods that you want to be deep fried. So for example, besides French fries, there's chicken, octopus, mozzarella sticks, tofu, corn, string beans, pretty much everything. And you just pick them and put it in a basket, and they'll help you deep fry everything. So I'll always have this as a midnight snack. Just some random campus rules. So the first random rule is there are some things in the university you cannot step on. So first being grass. I am not sure why. Because these things are, made to be stepped on, grass, and there's also a carpet in the dorm that you cannot step on. Yeah, so those are random. But moving on to the uniform. So all students in the university, we have uniforms that we need to wear to class. So the uniform consists of a short white button-up, and there's also a tie, name tag, the school pins, a pencil skirt, and heels. And during PE, we also have our set of PE uniform, but you can only wear this when you don't have class, so for during PE. And also during the first year, it's mandatory to stay in the dorm. But after that, so for your sophomore and your senior year, you can decide to rent a studio, or you can continue staying in the dorm. It really depends on you. But the perks about staying in the dorm for me is that, I just want to focus on this. It was free, except for laundry and internet. So the laundry for your uniform, it's included in your tuition, but if you want to wash your casual clothes, then that would be extra. And then also for the dorm, you can stay in a dorm of 4 girls or boys, depending on your preference, because, well, actually, no, for the dorm, if you're a girl, you can only live with girls, and guys just the same. But the room size, you can choose to live in a room of 4 or 2. It depends on how much more you're willing to pay for. And for each dorm, you have your own bathroom, and also your space, it's like a loft. So your desk is on the bottom and your bed is on top. And also we have room checks. So every Tuesdays and Thursdays, there are people who come check your room. So it has to be neat, tidy, organized, and your blankets and pillows have to be folded a certain way. And there's a curfew and roll call. This might be hard to adapt to at first, because it's like you're in a military school, but then after some time you kind of get used to it, and you realize that the point in all these strict rules is so that you can be disciplined once you graduate. Like they're teaching you organizational skills and team building skills, because for your roommates, you're not, it's randomly assigned. You can't, like back in the States, I know you can fill out a form saying which type of roommate you're looking for, but this is just randomly assigned. So I feel like this really teaches you like team building skills. And Also for the refrigerator, this is quite interesting too. Each dorm building has 2 refrigerators that you will be sharing with the other people living in that building. And for this, you have to store your food in a specific type of Tupperware, and you have to label it with your name, what food you have inside, the time, the date. So yeah, that was interesting. And for the university, we have morning cleaning during freshman and sophomore year, and for freshman year it will start at 7 a.m. every day from Monday to Friday, and each department there will be assigned different places to clean around campus. So at the same time, they're really trying to instill the idea of being clean and organized. So I feel like knowing all of these really stressful rules, you really have to come with an, like I said earlier, like an open mind. Like you have to be ready to accept these rules, because in reality, once you start working, there are going to be rules this strict. They're really teaching you how to become like a professional. People are looking for people who are, employers are looking for people who are organized, who can pretty much just clean up after themselves. So I feel like if you're really serious about the hospitality and tourism industry, then this is good training. And also we have activities such as the school anthem and cheerleading for freshmen. But if you're a sophomore or a senior, you can also volunteer to join these activities. So for these activities, it will take about 1 month practice. So for example, the school anthem. So it starts in the beginning of the year. Like the first day of school is around September 14th. And so the competition might be the first week of October, just for example. And so every single day during that period, there would be a 2-hour practice where you'll be preparing how to sing the school anthem, and you would be organizing dances and just performances. So it's quite a fun bonding experience. Yeah, and then also a facility I really enjoy in the university, it's our library. So we have movie theaters. So it's not really a theater, it's just like rooms you can rent with your friends to watch a movie. So there will be DVDs available, and in that room there's a couch, there's a huge plasma TV, and it's really comfortable. And there's also discussion rooms that you can borrow too. And so now my department, it's the International Tourism Management. And so the purpose of this department is that it covers all subjects regarding tourism and hospitality in English. So in our university, we have several departments such as culinary, Chinese culinary or Western culinary. There's Japanese, English, but most of these, or all of these departments, they are taught in Mandarin. So the reason why I chose this department was that I can submit my application in English, and the classes are also in English. So I feel like this department really makes you become a well-rounded person, because you get to touch all subjects regarding these industries. So normally we are used to more theoretical classes, like reading from textbooks or writing essays, but this university also teaches you hands-on and practical skills. So for example, the picture on the left, I joined a event planning class. So we would have Thai teachers who would teach this class, and then at the end of the semester we would hold a Songkran festival. So we really put into action what we learned in class. And just one of the most important things, the graduation qualification. How are you supposed to graduate from your department? So first of all, English exams. This is required from everyone, no matter if you're from England or from Canada or from the States like me. Everyone is required to take an English exam. And it's not like SATs or anything. There's a list of English exams that they require, like that you can choose from. So for example, I took the TOEIC exam, and also if you want, you can take TOEFL or IELTS. And besides that, there's also certificates that you must pass. So you can have one B-level and C-level certificate, or you can have 2 C-level certificates. This might sound a bit confusing, but there is a chart that you can ask from your department's office, or you can just look online, that will tell you which type of certificates are considered B-level and which types are considered C-level. So for example, for me, I took 1 B-level and 1 C-level certificate. So for my B-level, it's the picture in the background. It's my foundation in travel and tourism. And for my C-level, I took WSET, which is Wine and Spirits Education Trust. But it's different for different departments. So it's not going to be the same requirements. And my courses, so during my freshman year, these are just some of the basic courses we took. Of course, there's more, but I just listed out a few. So for example, there's food and beverage management, introduction to hospitality, professional English in tourism. So for this class, it teaches you how to create an itinerary. So for example, there will be projects where you have to create an itinerary in your hometown. So for example, for me, I had to create one back in California, and we also had Chinese class. So instead of taking general education with your Taiwanese classmates, you would be required to take Chinese class. So in the first year, so freshman year, you would be taking Chinese listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And this goes on until the first semester of your sophomore year. And then for the second semester, you'll be taking like Taiwanese geography, or this Budaishi, which is like the traditional Taiwanese puppet show. So that explains the picture in the background. It was an assignment the teacher wanted us to create our own puppets. So that was fun. So during my sophomore year, I took these courses, including food and beverage service, accounting, seminars. We also had an on-campus internship in our Aslight hotel. So this hotel, it's listed as a mock hotel, but actually the customers or guests you'll be receiving are actually parents or teachers visiting this university. And so for the staff, it'll just be you or me. And also we have an e-business class. So the point of this class is that it teaches you how to set up your own online business. And so for example, my group, we chose to sell glue, and we had to create our own advertisements, our own logo, and we had to accept payments. So yeah, and then we also had events planning. So yes, like I said before, our project was to set up our own Songkran festival. So we would need to contact like restaurants and vendors, things like that. Okay, so for our junior year, so this entire time, I'm not sure if you noticed, but I've only been talking about freshman, sophomore, and senior year. In our university, there are no juniors, which is interesting. Because during our junior year, it's mandatory that all of us have an internship. So it depends what you're looking for. You can apply for internships domestically in Taiwan, or you can apply for internship overseas. So for example, our university, they have connections with universities in Florida or in Canada, and also in Dubai. And also the internships really vary. So if you're looking for a 1-year internship, or you're looking for like half studying and half internship. So it really depends on what you're looking for. So for me, I chose a 1-year internship in the United Arab Emirates, in one Emirates called Ajman, and it was in a 5-star resort. So the application process, like I said earlier, the university has connections with companies. So you would find out the interview date on the school website, and then you just prepare all your documents like your passport or your resume, and you wear your uniform and you just show up on that day. And just some of the features about my internship, the more interesting ones, I guess, like the vacation days. So this is just an example of the company I worked at, but I thought it was really interesting that it doesn't matter how many vacation days you have, as long as you have the approval by the manager, you can take how many days you want. For example, I had a colleague, he had 2 months worth of vacation days and he took it all at once. So once he came back, I was surprised he was still working there. And for accommodation, the accommodation is included, and you are sharing a flat with 5 other people, and there are rooms of 3. So you have 1 roommate, and you have your own kitchen, your own washing machine, bathroom. It's all in that flat. And also this includes your uniform. And yeah, so the picture on the top left corner, it's just the canteen we had in the hotel. So all 3 meals are also included, as long as you're willing to wake up and take the hotel's transportation to the hotel. So during my senior year, I took Sustainable Tourism, Introduction to Cruise, and Casino Management. So on the left side, that's just a field trip I took with my casino class to visit a cruise in Banana Pier in Kaohsiung. And on the right, it's a sustainable tour my group and I planned for one of the projects to Tainan. And also for the overseas graduation trip, so this is also very important too, because it's mandatory unless you had an internship that was that was abroad. So for example, for me, since my internship was in the Middle East, I could choose to go to this overseas graduation trip or not to. But if your internship was domestic, let's just take a water break so you can do. Okay, so where was I? Okay, so yeah, so if your internship was domestic, you have to apply to not go to this overseas graduation trip if you don't want to. And for this trip, actually, you are paying for it. You're paying about $400 every semester up until your second semester of your junior year. So like the end of your internship, you're paying for this entire trip, and then if you choose not to go, all the money will be refunded back to you. So depending on which department you are in, they go to different places in the world. So for example, for my department, they went to Europe, like I think Finland, Denmark, and Sweden. And there are other departments that went to Spain. Another class that took a really big part of my senior year is the research methods and final thesis. So for this, you would choose a research topic, and you have an advisor that will be counseling you throughout this year. So you would be coming up with questionnaires, and you need at least 200 participants to fill out these questionnaires. And at the end of the year, you would be presenting this to CEOs of hotels or travel agencies. So yeah, that's just my group and I. Some common misunderstandings about this department is that since it's international tourism management, people assume that tourism oh, you're studying to become a tour guide, but actually no, because like I said earlier, we're a pretty well-rounded department, so we are studying different types of hospitality and tourism industries. And I would recommend studying a bit of Mandarin before entering this university, even though like I said, this department is entirely in English, but the school's website, there are some things in Mandarin. But also at the same time, I have friends who know zero Mandarin and still entered this university. So I feel like it really depends. Like you can find a buddy who will help you translate everything, or you can also go to the office. They're very willing to help you out if you have any questions regarding school. And the comparison with a similar department. Sorry, I have a sore throat. But yeah, that's another thing about Taiwan is the weather is always changing here. So since I'm from Kaohsiung, yeah, it's always hot or cold. It's just the season. Anyway, so moving on. So many people compare our department to the travel management. Like I said earlier, they think tourism, like we're starting to become a tour guide, but actually that's the focus of the travel management department. They're the ones who are studying to become like travel agency, to work in travel agencies or things like that. And the resources that are available, we have simulation classrooms. I love this part about the university actually. So we actually have indoor planes donated by China Airlines, so it's really hands-on. Like you can really get a feel of what's it like to work on an airplane. And also there are restaurants, so this is for the culinary department. So after learning about like different types, how to cook different types of dishes, they also create their own menus and serve it to the students or faculty of the school. So you can yeah, really experience how it is to run a restaurant. We also have the International Affairs Office. So we have faculty from different parts of the world, like the teachers behind me. There's a teacher from New Zealand, the States, England, and they're extremely willing to help you answer any questions you have. Yeah, so when you start your freshman year, your class will be assigned an advisor, and he or she will stick with you throughout all 4 years. And for every semester, you'll have lunch with your group and him, and you can ask him or her any questions you have that's related to school, or if you're going through any troubles in life. Yeah. And for scholarship, at the time I didn't have I couldn't apply to any scholarships, but then however after every semester, if your grades are top 3 of your class, you can apply for scholarships, like throughout your freshman and senior year. And the features we have of our department, so we have exchange students from Canada and Thailand, and we also have cultural exchange trips. So when I went, this trip was to Thailand, but then it also, again, it depends. Every year they might plan different trips. So this year they went to, or the students went to Korea. And this is a really exciting experience because it's just a 1-week trip during, for example, your winter break, and you really get to interact with other university from another country. Experience sharing. I feel like this is really important because so for freshmen and sophomore, because after knowing that you're required to have an internship in your junior year, there will be seniors who share their experience. There's going to be a sort of conference, I guess you can say, And seniors from different internships, like for example, if you interned in Florida or if you interned domestically, like in the Marriott Hotel, you'll be required to share experiences to the freshman and sophomore year. So I feel like you really get to have an idea of what you're getting into before you actually start applying for your internships in your sophomore year. And also for jobs, so we would quite frequently have field trips to hotels and restaurants, and we would get to listen to the CEO or the owner of that organization and learn how he or she built the company from scratch, and pretty much how to become an entrepreneur. Field trips. So I love this part about this university is that they always have field trips. So we would go to restaurants, hotel, the Yahoo headquarters, or also visit Hakka villages. But then this is also set up by the class you're taking. So for example, when I took my food and beverage management class, we visited a restaurant, and we were able to tour around and see different positions in the restaurant, starting from the waiter, and you really have an in-depth idea of that industry. Okay, so for the career options that are available, since we are studying pretty much a bit of everything, we are able to apply for airline, hotel, travel, food and beverage positions, and some interesting courses. So this class I took, Introduction to Wines and Beverages. This class I took during my freshman year. And since we have simulation classrooms, this is also just one of them. So there's an aroma room where you can smell different types of notes to wines. And in this class, or every class, we would try at least 8 different types of red wine, white or rosé, sparkling. So that was a really fun experience. And world travel and food culture. So for this class, I found it so fun because every single week we were able to try different foods across the world. So on the right side, that's just a picture of Indian food that we got to try. And also we had olive oil tasting. So I thought that was interesting because I never thought such a thing would exist, you know, because wine tasting, yeah, it's understandable, but olive oil, so that was fun. And tea culture. So I just took this class just for fun. But basically in this class, you learn the million different types of tea. So there's not just only black and green tea. There's a whole variety out there in the world. And basically the positive, negative effects of tea, and how to tell what type of tea is by just looking at its leaf. And also casino management. So for this class, there's also a simulation classroom for this. So in this class, there are tables. So for example, there's a table for baccarat, blackjack, and the teacher, she would teach you how to spread chips, or how to be a dealer for these games. So that was really fun. And also I took another class for airline ticketing. I really enjoyed this class because since I want to dive deeper into the airline industry, I took this class and they taught you how to use global distribution systems. And yeah, so if you're wondering if you're in this department, can you choose classes from different departments? Yes, you can, and you can also get credits for it, but then you have to go online and see like the types of credit, like if it's general education or if it's elective credits. So, and the activities that we have. So we have clubs. So I took a Taiwanese cooking club, and that's just me wearing the culinary uniform. because like I said, this university really wants you to step into the shoes of that particular position. So for example, since I'm in Taiwanese cooking club, I'm required to wear the chef uniform. So that's just a uniform I borrowed from my roommate. And on the right side is just one of the few Taiwanese desserts I made. So yeah, that was really fun. And also I took a ukulele club, and because I'm really interested in music, and it was just a fun club. I took ISA, so this stands for International Students Association, and I feel like not all, but I would strongly recommend joining this club because they take you to different parts of Taiwan. So for example, I got to join the event where they went to Taichung or also Taitung, and we went camping, and there's also Christmas parties, and you can interact with the other international students in the university. So I also joined student association, and this is like student council, so there's going to be a president, vice president, but for me, I was in the publicity department, so I was in charge of designing like the posters or logos, and we also planned trips, like community service trips. So for example, in this picture, we went on a trip to Pingtung where we taught English to elementary school students, and we also stayed overnight in the elementary. So that was really fun. And also each department, they would host a week. It's called week, but actually in reality it only takes 3 days. So for our department, we collaborated with the English and Japanese departments. And so for each department, you would be responsible in setting up game booths or food stands. So that was really fun. And now moving on to the experiences. So what I gained in life. First and foremost, of course, how to become independent. Since I moved abroad, my family members are not always going to be there next to me. You really have to learn how to take care of yourself and yeah, just how to become an adult. Cross-cultural communication. So for this, since this is going to be a new environment, you're going to be interacting with people from across the globe with different cultures and different backgrounds. Besides Taiwanese, there's also students from Belize, Guatemala, Indonesia, Malaysia. So yeah, you really learn how to interact with different people from all walks of life. Education. So I learned how to prioritize, because during all your university years, you're going to be so busy with events and schoolwork, projects. You really need to learn how to prioritize and not join so many clubs, because it's going to be really exciting at first, but then you're going to be overwhelmed with all the workload. So you really need to learn how to just make some time for every activity that you're doing. So work hard, play hard. So the working experience. If you're worried about finding jobs in or like a part-time job in a foreign country in this university, you can also become an English tutor. The pay is not that high. It's minimum wage, but it's still, you know, just pocket money, and it's just for experience. So yeah. And also my internship, I felt like this took a really big part of my life, because it really gave me the taste of reality before I actually graduated from university and stepped into the working life. And also 3 words my duty manager taught me, which are save your ass. So how he explained this is really funny. It's I don't care what you do as long as you hold accountable for your actions. So this means that since you're going to be a college student now, and there's not going to be your parents or someone always just reminding you, oh, remember to do your homework, or remember to do this. If you're lazy, then you know, there's not always going to be someone chasing after you for your assignments. So you really need to learn how to prioritize. And Taiwan versus USA. So for the culture, first of all, I want to start with the people. This is one of the main reasons why I came to Taiwan in the first place, because the people here, they're just so generous and kind. It's really touching at times. But no matter how open they are still shy in their own ways. So don't hug them because you'll scare them. So there's a funny backstory behind this actually, because during my freshman year, I took a picture with a guy classmate, and as I put my arm around his shoulders, he was like, "Oh, so this is what you guys do in the States." Of course, we think it's normal, but you know, still give them some space. ABC. So this is also a quite common misunderstanding about me, because the first impression people have of me is I look Asian, but once I start speaking English, it confuses them. Or when I speak broken Mandarin, it's just like, this doesn't make sense. So I feel like for all the ABCs out there, it's something that you might have to get used to once you move to Taiwan or to any Asian country in general. Working habits. So here they're really strict about respecting your elders. So for example, when you see a professor or a teacher or anyone just walking by you, you have to be like, "Oh, 你好老师," which means, "Oh, hello teacher." Like, I thought it was quite strange at first, but yeah. The weather. So in Taiwan, it's extremely humid. There's typhoon seasons, and because it's so humid, there's also mosquitoes. Food. So another thing I love about Taiwan is the night market. So if you don't know what that is, it's just it's like an area where food vendors would just set up stands, and there's billion different types of food you can choose from like let's just say fried chicken or boba milk tea or fruit stands, or just a lot of different types of stands. And they also sell clothes, goodies, and there's also games. So I love this part about the night market. And it's really convenient too, because you can also go there and have just a midnight snack, or you can go there to have your dinner. Yes, so besides that, the night market is convenient. Also, another thing that's really extremely convenient about Taiwan is the convenience store. So back in the States, I guess we just have 7-Eleven or AM, PM, and normally you just go there to buy like snacks or soda or something. But then in Taiwan, in the 7-Eleven here, you can go and purchase your train tickets or your concert tickets. You can pretty much do anything in there. You can even mail packages from 7-Eleven. And besides 7-Eleven, they have Family Mart, Hi Mart, just a bunch. And it's located literally in every corner in Taiwan. No tip. So I love this thing about Taiwan. It's when you eat at restaurants here, tip is not required unless you're eating at a, maybe let's say a fancier restaurant. This brings back to the first time I had my own lunch by myself near my university. And it was about, I don't remember what I ate, but it was about $1. So I put $2 there, and then I left. And then the restaurant owner, she just chased after me, and she was like, "Wait, your change." And I was like, "No, that's for you. It's okay." And she insisted on giving me back the money. So I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, that was quite new for me. No to raw vegetables. So if you are planning to eat salads or anything like that, I feel like it's a lot easier making it yourself, because there's not, like, normally Taiwanese people, they don't eat, you know, raw vegetables. Everything here is mostly cooked. So for example, there's this one time I had barbecue with my friend, and there was salad nearby, and she just put the salad on the grill, and I was like, what are you doing? You're supposed to just eat that. And she's like, no, you have to cook it, there's germs on it. So yeah, that was quite interesting. The gainings I had from all the experiences in Taiwan. So first of all, no pain, no gain. So besides what I said previously, I just want to reiterate again that you need to come to Taiwan with an open mind and an open heart, and just be willing to adapt and adapt to change, because the reason why you are studying abroad in the first place is because you want to experience a different culture. So I feel like you shouldn't come with a mindset just assuming that everything should be, or comparing everything to your hometown, because if everything is like the culture back at home, there's honestly no point in moving abroad, you know. So yeah, no pain, no gain. There's going to be obstacles that you are constantly going to be encountering, like cultural barriers, language barriers. But I feel like this is part of all the experience of studying abroad. But look where I am now. I mean, if I made it, I'm pretty sure you guys can too. Yeah, so finally graduating. That's proof with the graduation gowns. And the last thing I just want to leave with everyone is to be grateful for the simple things in life. Because being a student in a foreign country, or just living in a foreign country, you don't always have your family's support right next to you. So you really start to appreciate all the classmates and friends you have. And this brings back to a time back in my freshman year, because I was just starting to adapt to the weather here, and so I had a really bad fever. And during that time, we also had the school anthem competition we were preparing for. So I couldn't go to class. I was just laying there, and I couldn't eat because I was just so exhausted. I was just laying in bed all day long. And my roommate, I remember, she just came over and gave me an egg. And I know it sounds kind of stupid, like, what, an egg? But I thought this was the most touching thing anyone has ever done for me, because this was just the beginning of the year. I just came here. She doesn't know me, I don't know her, and she was still able to, like, keep me in mind. Just, oh, I have a roommate sick at home, I feel like I should give her something. Or, I don't know, it was just little things like this really touched my heart. So if you're watching this, I am so grateful for all the things you have done for me. And yeah, I just want to leave everyone with that message, just to be grateful. And thank you so much. So that will be the end of my presentation. And yeah, bye!